Hi, Lisa, Perrotti-Brown from The Wine Advocate.
Marcus.
Thank you. I'm lucky I'm on this side of the camera. But the purpose of this was just to get some impressions from the tasting you've done for The Wine Advocate and focusing on New Zealand, because you've just taken over that and it's your first trip here. And we were really pleased to have you in Marlborough.
First trip here for a long time.
Yeah, sorry. First trip for The Wine Advocate.
For The Wine Advocate,
and
yes.
Just really pleased to host you in Marlborough to do some tastings.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope they went well. You've done 2 days worth of tasting.
Yeah.
And one focusing on Sauvignon Blanc.
Yep.
And one focusing on other varietals, excluding Pinot Noir and aromatics, which you'll do in Central Otago in the coming days.
That's right.
Yeah. Hi, Lisa, Perrotti-Brown from The Wine Advocate.
Marcus.
Thank you. I'm lucky I'm on this side of the camera. But the purpose of this was just to get some impressions from the tasting you've done for The Wine Advocate and focusing on New Zealand, because you've just taken over that and it's your first trip here. And we were really pleased to have you in Marlborough.
First trip here for a long time.
Yeah, sorry. First trip for The Wine Advocate.
For The Wine Advocate,
and
yes.
Just really pleased to host you in Marlborough to do some tastings.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope they went well. You've done 2 days worth of tasting.
Yeah.
And one focusing on Sauvignon Blanc.
Yep.
And one focusing on other varietals, excluding Pinot Noir and aromatics, which you'll do in Central Otago in the coming days.
That's right.
Yeah, so what were your impressions?
Oh, well, yeah, it's actually a very good tasting. It was probably mainly for the Sauvignon Blancs 2009s, and a few people managed to get the 2010s in there as well, and a few people who like to later release their Sauvignon Blancs had some 2008s in there. So it was interesting. I think, general impressions, Marlborough is maintaining this image for starting at a relatively high level of quality. And that's probably in the, if you were to sort of put, a level on that good to very good level of quality. And then until you get to the maybe top 10-15%, they all seem to hover within that category. If I'm going to have any complaints,
Yes.
there's this, most regions where you go to taste and evaluate, you get a broad cross sections of different quality levels, and sort of the great thing, and perhaps also at the same time, ironically, the curse of Marlborough is being within that close band of quality level, albeit it is good to very good. So, as a critic, and you're looking at all of these styles, there's very few Sauvignons that actually I couldn't recommend to consumers. I mean, maybe there was only 1 or 2 or 3 at the most out of like nearly 100 Sauvignons that I tried. And I tried quite a few as well with my visits around to the producers too. So that's very few that actually couldn't be recommended, and that was mainly only due because Sauvignon sometimes has a real problem, particularly in the mid-palate. It can be a bit watery and sometimes dilute. Going into that 2009 vintage is not so much of a problem. I know there was maybe a little bit of an issue with 2008 with some higher yields and a little bit of dilution in some of the wineries that weren't as careful with their yields. But generally speaking, there was a lot of great wines in there, but very few really wow wines, which was probably the
tough.
one complaint. Being
so that must make a real challenge for wineries. Like they need to differentiate on style, but especially on brand, I guess would be. They're all grouped closely together. Do you think that branding becomes even more important, or is it the challenge you lay down to say, get some more complexity or experiment more, or what do you read?
I think it's some more complexity, identity. Look, because one of my goals coming to visit the region was to look at the various different sub-regions within Marlborough and see if I could find distinguishable styles across the region. And I think there are distinguishable styles emerging in these subregions, and if wineries and producers could look to bring out a little bit more of that, so that you are getting individual characteristics coming from a subregion and a vineyard and a producer, that would give consumers certainly a point of differentiation, and help a lot when it comes to branding as well. So that consumers aren't just picking up a bottle of Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, they're picking up, a winery Sauvignon Blanc or a sub-region Sauvignon Blanc, because that's, the style that they've, said, oh, I really feel like drinking tonight, or I really feel like tasting tonight, or maybe, I want to try 2 or 3 different producers of styles because I know they're going to be unique.
Yes.
And I know I'll be able to find, what my favorite style is the most.
Yeah, that's quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing to work on for us.
Yeah. I think that, the inspiring thing is that there are a handful of producers who are really able to achieve this now, and they certainly should be there should be a lot more people who sort of, even if they don't do it for all of their range, everybody should have some flagship wines at the very top that look to achieve that individuality, that character, and it should have to do with region. If not, individual vineyard or block. I do like to see, a lot of producers who are, even if they've got a vast vineyard, isolating out specific blocks and saying, oh, well, we've been making Sauvignon Blanc for so many years now, we've noticed these ones continually put the best fruit out, and so, let's make something of those. And then, we can also, our vines are getting older, we can also make a great blend across the other blocks, for the lower price points. So.
Good.